So I just reposted a video from this guy that used to write for like health insurance companies, like news for them, um, and he was saying how likely what will happen from this is that the C-suite's going to expect more security, but he said, and then this can affect hiring. So, and then I was looking in the comments and somebody said something, and I bet this is true, is that if you work in healthcare, they will, because of this event, they will make it to where you can no longer work in healthcare and speak up against the C-suite or the healthcare system. So that won't work for me. So it won't, because I do it on my own time. And I'm not going to accept that behavior modification. I live in a free country. The C-suite does not understand the Constitution. They are all the same people, and some of them don't even know it, that got on board with the Agenda 2030 plan, which is really the overthrowing of America. It is. It's not the Democrats, many of them are on board with that because you got Bernie over there. He's a Democrat socialist. And so, him, AOC, many of these people that supported this stuff, they're politicians that help. But ultimately, your problem is all of these bureaucrats, they aligned with Agenda 2030. I've looked this up for 4 years. I've looked it up. I've looked at all the connections with American Nurses Association, mostly the nursing associations, but the medical are tied to it, to every professional organization. So that's what they're going to do, because they're not going to let go of globalist control. They're going to double down on it. So likely they're going to start telling employees, and employees in healthcare will go along with it, unfortunately, is that, well, if you work for us, you can't say anything against us, which I don't really come out against who I work for. Like, I don't label them. I say the hospital I work for. I call out the C-suite, but I think that they're going to come down to where if you're a nurse, if you're anybody that works in healthcare and they catch you on social media, it will be a reason for them to fire you. So I'm sure there's lawyers that will be willing to take them to court for that. Even though they have a ton of lawyers, this event seems to have really spurred the public, if people have realized that, especially on social media. And even though I don't support the gunning down of anybody, unless you're defending yourself, and some people feel that that guy was defending many people that, well, they felt they don't have a lot of sympathy for that guy dying or being gunned. And I don't either. I just don't really support, I don't support that avenue of justice. Because it's not going to fix the problem. I would rather gut out the problem. I've said for 4 years that I believe many of the C-suite executives should be in handcuffs. I think that the legal system needs to go after them, but we don't have a Department of Justice that's willing to do that. They have a ton of lawyers to protect them. The balancing of it being all in their favor, is not fair, obviously. It's been like that forever. But it's gotten worse because of socialism. So the very people that scream and say socialism would fix this, universal care would fix this, are the same people that have built all the regulations around everything to where what happened with your loved ones getting denied claims, and where I work, like what I work in, is we have no staff. They make excuses. Oh, there's a nursing shortage. No, there's not. That's why American Nurses Association went along with that lie. There's been a bunch of nurses that have left over the years, but I don't know about now, but up until like 4 years ago, really 3 years ago, I haven't looked into it for recently, but every nursing program in the country they have waiting lists. It was like that when I graduated. So there's plenty of nurses. But they needed to say there's a nursing shortage, so it gave the CEOs of hospitals excuses to say, we can't help it, and look, this is why we have to bring in AI. You see what I'm saying? That's why they said we have to bring in AI now. But there's not a nursing shortage. There's not. They also said it because the other thing they supported, because they have to support it because it was part of Agenda 2030, was open borders. And open borders helps bring in cheap labor. And so they were hoping that avenue. But really what it's helped is them have a reason and excuse to bring in AI. So that's the other component to all this. United Healthcare, and I said it last night, or I know it's early in the morning. I work nights, so I'm used to being up at this time. That United Healthcare is using AI, and most of your insurance and healthcare, this is what they're going to do. AI is deciding claims. And AI is the worst thing for healthcare. But you know who's saying it's going to be so great? The CEOs. But they don't have a clue of what's great. And, you know, I know that there's like CEOs out there that would say, but I'm not corrupt. Okay, but you know what? I've looked at it from both angles because I understand that there's a business side of it, okay? I understand that healthcare also needs to make a profit in order to remain in business. But it has gone, it used to be that balancing act until socialism started creeping into it. And it used to be where nurse managers had control over their units. They could push back on CEOs and say, no, like in psych, there's some people we shouldn't accept because we don't have the staff. Or there's some people we shouldn't accept and they should look for a psych hospital elsewhere because they won't fit in with the milieu, okay? Because sometimes when you accept somebody that's going to throw off an entire milieu of the rest of patients and you're going to cause them to backslide, it's not a good idea to accept them. You have to weigh those things. They don't anymore. They just accept anybody. They make all these excuses why people shouldn't go to jail and they should go in the psych. You know, people should have to be held accountable for their actions. Okay? So there's all these different ways they've played these games. Okay? And so I understand that CEOs have a job, but there was a time that we had ethical there's not many doctors that are CEOs now. What you're going to see more and more of is IT people being the head of healthcare. And the business executives have been running the show, and they don't care what staff says, they don't care what managers. And so everybody that's in that C-suite has to go along with that agenda, which is why many people leave, because they have a conscience. So I understand, and I'm not trying to make out, but you CEOs, you know what, there was the ones out there that are good, you should have been speaking up then. You have a voice, you could have been speaking up against this stuff. That what's been going on, okay? Because, you know, don't be signing NDAs to be quiet just because you don't want to expose that we should not be having business people running healthcare, not at the level they're doing it now. And all of the people they put in are just globalist focused and greed focused. But really, it is the strings behind them is this trap happened because of laying the trap of all the regulations. And then that's how the government at the state and federal level was able to seep in. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for any CEOs, even ones that want to claim that they're decent, because you could have been speaking up. Instead, what I see in healthcare is, and all the healthcare magazines want to do, is say how wonderful these CEOs are and what humanitarians they are. No, they're not. No, they're not. If you have a heart, they wouldn't do what they do to their staff. They wouldn't be bringing in machines to do the job of nurses so that they don't have to hire nurses. They'd show by their deeds that all they care about is money. They carry on and carry on and carry on that AI, and it's going to be amazing. No, it's just a way for them to have less staff and get money. So they're just as bad as the insurance companies. But you know what? The American people were fed up with it. So you can do what you want, but we're fed up with it. I'm not so fed up with it I'm going to hurt people. That's just not in my nature. But no matter what the healthcare system tries to do with their behavior modification programs for employees, I will not be complying.